Hi, thank you for joining me in a new video. This time, I'm going to unbox the iPhone 17 Pro. Let's get started. If you happen to follow me on Instagram, you might have noticed that I actually had not managed to get this iPhone because for some reason my box did not arrive. But thanks a lot to my friends, Juan and Katia, who are lending me this cell phone that they bought, and it did arrive today. In this case, the launch price in Mexico of this Model Pro is 28,499 pesos. The screen shows the dollar reference price for an idea, but remember, prices in Mexico are the same here. The Pro Max starts at 30,999 pesos. So it's quite evident that we are dealing with some rather high-priced devices here. However, we're about to dive into discovering what's inside the box immediately, which, as we are aware, will be quite brief. But don't worry, we'll also take a swift look at the specifications, so why not come along with me as we reveal the contents of the box? I assure you, it's going to be an interesting experience. I always repeat myself, but I won't tire of it. Apple's packaging is extremely nice, and the way to open these boxes is just fantastic. Let's finish opening this up, and that's it. Directly. Here we are with the iPhone, and in this particular case, it's in the orange color. Now, when you look at it in person, it appears quite different from the orange you see in all the marketing materials and advertisements. It's a much brighter gadget than I thought. And especially the central portion, which is carefully preserved in glass, also appears to be quite noticeable. It's more transparent than it usually appears in marketing pictures. Look closely, that's an intriguing detail to notice when you observe the device in person. So let's go ahead and take it out of the box and then remove this plastic covering. In case you weren't already aware, take note that on this plastic there isn't any SIM card indicator. This is because this iPhone will now only function with an eSIM. This means you need to scan a QR code to link your phone number and activate your mobile data plan. It's not going to support a physical SIM card anymore. You will need to visit your phone company to make that change or migration from a normal SIM to an eSIM. So let's go ahead and take this off and meet the device. Just look at what a beauty it is. All right, let's go ahead and power the phone on. And while it's booting up, let me check what else we have inside the box. I must say, I expect there to be very little content in here. However, to stick with the traditional unboxing format, let's verify that there is indeed the USB-C to USB-C cable. And of course, it's a high quality braided cable, though in this instance, it is of a shorter length. You know, there's no charger included and just the usual paperwork here. No stickers, no holster, and definitely no headphones. Although in this case, of course, you can purchase such accessories separately, like this silicone case. So since we have it here, let's take a look at how it appears. And you can tell me if you would prefer to use this iPhone with a case or without one. Let's uncover it over here then. And that's it. Over here, we're going to find the case. And well, of course, this is one of the options that Apple has when it comes to cases. Remember, they have different types of materials and always in conjunction with the color of the device. So let's see. There it is with the case on. Let me know your opinion. Which configuration would you use, with a case or without a case? To tell the truth, and to be completely honest, I don't really like how it looks in either of the options available. This new design, which features a glass part along with the rest of the aluminum body, hasn't quite convinced me when it comes to aesthetics. In my opinion, it looks somewhat odd, and this setup reminds me a lot of Xiaomi devices that have a similar window. I even believe we could compare it a bit to the iPhone's case. No, that's not true. I'm just kidding, but it's just a reference to why I didn't really like this device. It reminds me a lot of Poco devices, which obviously have a much tighter price entry range. However, that's just about aesthetics and personal taste. Please let me know your opinion in the comments on whether I should use it with a case or without one. You know I'm on team no case, although of course it's much riskier. I'll set up this device and be right back. And well, I have already configured the device so we can take a quick look at its specifications. Right off the bat, it strikes me that the wallpaper is blue when the device is orange. A curious little detail that I think Apple would have taken into account at some point to have a wallpaper. Similar to the color of the device, but well, let's know the specifications that are integrated into this piece of technology. We find a thickness of 8.75 millimeters and weighs 206 grams. Yes? Samsung's. For example, Apple seems not to be looking to make their flagship devices thinner than the last generation. For that, they left the Air model, which seems to me a good decision. I have already pointed out as a criticism towards Samsung that if we want a thin device is fine, that there is the Galaxy S-25 as an alternative, but the rest of the family, it would be better to give us more battery like Apple without making the device thinner each generation. Apple keeps the design quite resistant. Ceramic Shield 2 is on the front, while the first generation Ceramic Shield is in this rectangle to enable wireless charging, and aluminum is used for the rest of the body, which is crafted in one piece. Regarding the materials and technology, I appreciate the integration that Apple has implemented. However, the aesthetics have not fully convinced me, mainly because the tone at the bottom appears too light, creating a stark contrast with the darker tone that appears at certain angles. The aluminum body, but that's just personal preference. At the top, you will notice a strip that gives the impression that an Apple Pencil or something similar might attach there. However, it is actually just a band designed to aid the connectivity of the antennas. This is because whenever there is a unibody design, there needs to be these types of lines made of plastic to ensure that the frequencies can reach the antennas. So that's just an interesting fact to keep in mind. The screen for this model measures 6.3 inches diagonally, boasting a resolution of 2622 by 1206 pixels. With ProMotion, that is 120 Hz for very smooth movements, HDR technology, and an anti-reflective coating that we're going to compare at this point. Because, for example, Samsung also has an anti-reflective finish on the Galaxy S-25 Ultra and Watch. It looks like they're similar, although you do get to see a little bit more absorption on Samsung. Here it reflects slightly more white color, that in more extreme situations, but Watch in this case in situations that are not so extreme, you also get to notice better anti-reflective coating by Samsung, but it is definitely an evolution in the iPhone 17 Pro, as you observe, for example, how it looked last generation. There is definitely an improvement in this anti-reflective finish that is still not as advanced as Samsung's, but if we are going to notice an evolution in that sense, and taking advantage that we have the last generation here, let me know what design you prefer. It is clear that Apple already needed a change in its design because for many generations remained in this same line, but I do not know if it is the change I expected. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. I really want to emphasize that in my opinion, after having tested many devices from the Poco brand, which often had this rectangular design at the top, I have developed a bit of a dislike for that particular design. However, I do appreciate that there is a noticeable change from one generation to the next, and I believe that this is always appealing to the end user. Regarding the sound, we discovered a configuration. It has stereo, a speaker at the bottom, another in the earpiece area for calls, and the sound is up to what we expected. It sounds very good presence of bass frequencies. There really is no complaints so far. I think it does very well as a competitive device for the high end, a design that definitely catches the eye, good resistance, good screen, very good sound. But watch out for a surprise, the front camera is brutally improved over the last generation. It is 18 megapixels with f1.9 aperture and autofocus. Apple calls it center stage, and the name comes basically because we are now in front of a sensor that is square by default. At first glance, it resembles a traditional camera without many noticeable changes. However, I want you to pay attention to a small detail at the top and bottom behind the black stripes. A preview appears indicating that there is more amplitude available. So observe that, for instance, if it detects someone else is present to be included in the picture, the device provides us with more amplitude. Furthermore, if it detects even more people approaching to join the picture, it might even adjust and change accordingly. In this case, with 3 people, it doesn't seem to switch, but with a larger group of friends, it automatically changes to a horizontal view. It's really a device that enhances your photo-taking experience by giving you more breadth. This technology is something no other manufacturer has incorporated yet. For those who claim Apple no longer innovates, it's clear that it still does. They possess that DNA even if it's not always apparent. However, when we look at the front camera, we can definitely observe a significant enhancement and development. What you are witnessing is a short comparison between the screenshot and the photograph, allowing you to appreciate how it performs exceptionally well, even just from the preview itself. This day was extremely challenging with overcast skies and backlighting, yet the device manages to capture these images with excellent quality, showcasing its capabilities remarkably. It will surely be the best front camera of the year and maybe of the next year as well. And on the back, we find what Apple calls the 48 megapixel profusion system. All 3 cameras have the same resolution. The ultra wide angle camera is 13 millimeters with f2.2 aperture and autofocus. The main camera is 24mm with f1.78 aperture and also autofocus, and in this case optical stabilization inside the sensor. And finally, the telephoto camera has a 100mm lens, 4 times optical zoom and f2 aperture. And also it includes in-sensor stabilization along with autofocus. Let's take a quick look at the results. The ultra-wide camera is truly very wide. It's amazing just how wide it is because it also retains excellent quality. It's really very good. Next, we see the main camera, which we already know can give us 24 megapixel photos in auto mode, providing an excellent level of detail. Then we have 2x as a crop within the sensor, yet still maintaining the optical quality. This is why Apple often promotes it as if it were an additional telephoto camera. However, in this particular case, we are actually discussing the same main camera but with the sensor being cropped. Below, you can observe the transition to a 4x optical zoom. It certainly looks impressive, and it might feel like a step backward to go from the 5x of the last generation to 4x in this current generation. However, it now includes a high-resolution sensor that greatly enhances the zoom. I would have preferred an upgrade in the aperture as well, since it still has the same f2.8 aperture compared to the telephoto lens of the previous generation, but it reduces the optical zoom capability. Therefore, I believe there was room for improvement. Additionally, it cannot focus from very close distances, so it lacks telemacro capabilities like those found in some other Android devices. However, the inclusion of the high-resolution sensor enables an 8x crop while still preserving optical quality. So this would indeed be the result. Notice that you can see a very well detailed image on this cloudy day. It appears that it became a bit complicated and some areas are slightly blurred. Next, we are examining the zoomed image at 20x, and Apple has significantly improved the noise reduction work, which in previous generations showed too much noise. In this generation, the pictures have undergone an evolution that is quite noticeable, and the maximum zoom is 40x. Obviously, we are talking about digital zoom. Apple manages an honest zoom, so it looks great. Other manufacturers might go so far as to offer you 100x digital zoom, but it's basically cropping the image and forcing it. Although there are also some manufacturers that are starting to use artificial intelligence optimization so that, for example, these details come out well defined. But the result is a bit artificial, so you might get unexpected results at times. Apple is betting more on a result that strikes a balance between a computational photo optimization but still much closer to a realistic photo than an artificial photo. Then it will depend entirely on your taste. But I think this generation Apple has really improved significantly not only the hardware of their cameras, but especially the processing that gives the final result. Of course, here it keeps the LiDAR sensor for super advanced depth scanning, and for video recording we will find 4K up to 120 frames per second, available in this case only with the main camera. It catches my attention. Apple usually didn't do this. Usually, the maximum settings apply to all cameras equally to avoid confusion. In this case, it doesn't. If you see when we go down to 60 frames per second, the rest of the cameras will appear. Then, the super slow motion of 4K at 120 frames per second is something you can only utilize with the main camera. I believe it's somewhat limited in that aspect, especially when you consider that other manufacturers, such as in the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, offer slow motion across multiple lenses. This provides more versatility and capabilities in terms of video recording. However, let's quickly take a look at the outcome of this video recording. The stabilization appears to be of excellent quality. The transition when switching from one lens to another is also expected to be great, particularly if you utilize the quick shortcuts for lens switching. In this scenario, it will achieve a maximum zoom of 24x, and trust me, it will be of very high quality, extremely detailed, and the zoom will be more than sufficient for most everyday situations. I appreciate how smoothly the zoom operates, and the transition between cameras is exceptionally well optimized. So I believe that video recording will keep being a major positive aspect of this device. Right now, you're viewing an example that was recorded with the front camera while holding the device in a vertical position. What really impresses me is the range it can achieve, and I'm also amazed by the outstanding performance of the backlight feature. On that particular day, it was extremely cloudy, which, trust me, would cause most devices to capture the sky as completely white. However, this cell phone manages to do an exceptional job handling such conditions. The cameras are undoubtedly the most appealing aspect of this cell phone. When it comes to the battery, we have a capacity of 4,252. According to both unofficial and official data, the manufacturer assures 33 hours of offline video playback and 30 hours of streaming video playback. This means that these numbers would exceed even those devices equipped with batteries over 5,000 mAh on the Android platform. However, This is just in theory. We will need to perform practical tests to truly understand what the actual autonomy will be. In various trials, it really seems that the battery is likely going to be a surprising and very positive element. Keep in mind that the battery size will differ across markets. In Mexico and the United States, not including the SIM card tray save space, allowing for a larger battery. Yet, if your country still includes the SIM card tray, the battery will be somewhat smaller. Consider that this model supports charging at 40 watts. This generation has seen improvements, even though you'll need to purchase the charger separately. It can provide 50% charge in just 20 minutes, according to Apple's figures. This means it has improved by reducing the time by 10 minutes to reach half the battery. Additionally, it supports wireless charging. With MagSafe, you can easily attach the charger without needing extra cases. Therefore, I believe battery and charging will be significant and comprehensive topics concerning this cell phone. In the software, we have iOS 26, a recent update featuring a new design language called Liquid Glass, giving us this sensation. It's a bit of bouncing, with some intriguing reflections on the back, almost as if it's actual glass. So the new design language is quite nice, although some people didn't like it. I personally did. However, what I don't particularly like is Apple's intelligence, which still feels as if it's in a beta stage. It's not fully completed to 100%, so the artificial intelligence features do not appear to be the most appealing aspects of this cell phone. For instance, let's try out the eraser function in this particular scenario, which I would consider to be fairly straightforward. Let's just select this object and observe how it manages to erase it. It takes a few seconds, and remember that the processing is done internally using the device's processor, without the need to send it to the cloud. Here you have solved it quite well. There are other scenarios where still the eraser does not seem to work very well. Let's see, for example, in this case, it has not filled as accurately as we would have liked. But, well, this, you have to go improving it over time. Apple has not yet announced these functions in a final way. It is still announcing them in a beta stage. In security, we will find Face ID, facial recognition in D, but still without fingerprint reader. I find it quite intriguing that they integrated a fingerprint reader into the camera button. In my opinion, it could serve as a valuable tool to add more versatility to this button. To be honest, I don't think it will be used frequently for taking pictures, given that all the controls are conveniently accessible with just a single touch. But ultimately, let's discuss the performance aspect. We will discover options of 256 gigabytes, 512 gigabytes, or even up to a terabyte available in the Pro model. For the Pro Max model, there is still a 2 terabyte option that will obviously be the most expensive. The RAM memory Apple does not communicate officially, but we estimate that it is 12 GB and the processor is the full Apple A. Pro, i.e. with 6 CPU cores and 6 GPU cores. I comment this because their model has the same processor but with one less core in the GPU. Let's go to the benchmarks. Let's run this CPU benchmark and wait for the results to have a reference. And we already have the results: 3,786 points on single core and 9,760 points on multiple multi-core. Definitely a very powerful chip. Here the important thing is that Apple has integrated for the first time a vapor chamber that in theory is going to help a lot to cool to maintain a powerful performance for a long time, because in past generations we had also seen a lot of power. Generally it is in peaks. For example, in benchmarks, it is doing quite well because it is a peak just during the test, and that's it. But then the gaming experience was not so good because it started to heat up a lot, so that vapor chamber should... We are now going to do the Antutu test and we'll return with the results. And ready, we have the result. Look, it's past 2 million points. It's incredible. 23,37,961 points is very powerful. We are truly facing a generation that appears very competitive. The hardware is excellent, showing good evolution. Of course, in the video review, we will include more tests to determine if it meets your needs. We will review the Pro Max version later, since this Pro version was lent to me. We've reached the end of the video. I hope you liked it. Let us know and see you next time.